The Bryce Harper thing annoys me more than anything that's happened in the last nearly 10 years for the Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. You can use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, not a great weekend, but at least they won on Sunday.
The storyline is so much further than the series, though.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into it. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. We surpassed 9,400 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
And 500 followers on TikTok.
Yes. So subscribe to us on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell, and then also follow us on TikTok. We're at LockedOn_Yankees. YouTube, Locked On Yankees. And podcasts, Locked On Yankees, on literally every thing that's available. I haven't even looked lately. Are there new podcasting services? Because it feels like there were new ones popping up all the time.
I'm sure there are. There's a new one that comes out every month.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
On today's show, we're going to preview the Rays series because there's no rest for the weary. The Yankees will be playing them for 4 games starting tonight. So we're going to go through the pitching matchups. We're going to recap the trades that the Yankees have made so far. The trade deadline's in a couple of days. But first, the weekend against the Phillies. All right, Brian.
Let me start you off in a bad mood.
Wait. I got to ask you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how annoying is it watching Bryce Harper hit home runs in Yankee Stadium?
Oh, yeah, that's where I was going with this, to start you off in a bad mood. I wanted to see if you remembered who made this quote. I was kind of shocked they didn't even reach out to offer me anything. Yeah. And then Brian Cashman's quote, this is from 2018. He felt that Bryce Harper wasn't a realistic fit because the Yankees had already had 5 outfielders and he would be their 6th outfielder at that time. And moving Bryce Harper to first base is not a realistic possibility. Well, Bryce Harper now plays first base for the Phillies every day at a Gold Glove level. And the 5 outfielders in front of him, Stacey, at the time, were Aaron Hicks, currently not in baseball, Brett Gardner, retired, Clint Frazier, currently not in baseball, Aaron Judge, who would have stayed on the team anyway, and Giancarlo Stanton, currently not playing out the outfield. So good work, Brian Cashman.
Yeah. Because he's going to be back in the outfield, according to Aaron Boone. So it'll
never not annoy me.
That'll be a fun time for all. Oh, no. The Bryce Harper thing annoys me more than anything that's happened in the last nearly 10 years for the Yankees. It's inexcusable. It's inexcusable.
There's multiple players. There's multiple players in baseball who should be on the Yankee roster, who they could have easily fit at different times. 3 of them on the Phillies when it comes to Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and Kyle Schwarber, who they just weren't interested in for whatever reason. And that's a whole other thing, Stacey. But the real bother in the whole thing with Harper is Harper would have likely taken a discount to go to the Yankees. He desperately wanted to be a Yankee. Like, that's what kind of just drives me a little more crazy, is he desperately wanted to be a Yankee. And you could have fit him and Stanton easily.
Of course.
Yeah. Bryce Harper makes $27 million a year right now, which is one of the best contracts in baseball.
People will want to say hindsight is 20/20. Not in this case.
You knew he was great.
Yes, this was one of the dumbest things Brian Cashman's ever done.
Yeah, he was 26 years old. You knew he was great, and he wanted to be a Yankee.
So awful. Stupid, just absolutely awful.
It does feel like whenever the Phillies play the Yankees, he looks to stick it to the Yankees extra, and he does almost every single time. They did a home run in this series. Let's go to Friday night first. They lose 12-5. They were in this game through most of it. The reason why this bothered me is this felt like the winnable game of this series.
Right.
You had Will Warren on the mound, who was back and forth, but against Taijuan Walker, who you should be able to beat. And Stacey, I'm sorry, this lineup just took over. The Yankee bullpen betrayed them. This game was close, 6-5 in the 7th, especially after the Volpe home run and the Judge sacrifice fly. They were only down 6-5, and then the Phillies just took over. Schwarber, Sosa, Bryson Stott, Trey Turner. I mean, it's a great team. The lineup is unforgiving, this Phillies lineup. But, I hate to be this guy, but their they're just better than the Yankees. And it kind of showed over the first 2 games of this series.
Well, yeah, that's obvious. There are a lot of teams now who are better than the Yankees. I mean, if you look at the standings, there are a ton of them that are better than the Yankees, especially with the way they've been playing over the last, we're coming up on almost 2 months now, because basically since the start of June, this team has not looked great. They didn't look great on Saturday either. Another annoying game to watch.
Well, this is the game where Harper gives you the home run after
Yeah,
and they just, again, the power of this team. Schwarber goes deep. They're so good.
Yeah. Also, Saturday was a scary day because you find out that Aaron Judge hurts his elbow, and you're thinking, oh, here we go, because how many elbow injuries have happened this year so far for the Yankees, and the news has never been good with any of the elbow injuries. And you're hearing, oh, he got his imaging done, he's going to the team doctor, and then you're thinking, oh, season over. And you find out that it's a strain, not great. It's not the greatest thing. You also find out that he's going to have to DH when he comes back from the IL, which is also not that good a thing, because that means that Stanton's going to have to try and play the outfield for the first time since 2023. So I don't know I don't know. It was just, it was a strange day, because not that I ever want Aaron Judge to be hurt. I don't. But part of me was thinking, if this is a serious injury and he's out for a long time, then they need to give up on buying and just sell. Just forget it. Just this season, there's no. And now they're kind of in that in-between thing where he's hurt, but he's not seriously hurt, and he could come back. So now they're thinking in their heads, well, obviously we're going to buy because we can't sell, because he'll be coming back. And I don't like this limbo. It's like, it feels like they're in limbo right now without him.
I didn't view the McMahon trade as that serious, even after the Judge injury, because he signed through 2027. So that one didn't bother me as much. They're going to have him for years to come anyway. The UCL thing really bothered me, because they were going to have to sell immediately, because then that means you don't have Judge for next year too.
Right.
So it becomes a really big problem. This is the second straight year we've gone through a big scare like this, because you remember Juan Soto in spring training last year had a scare like this too. And Yankee fans all kind of flipped out. Just to give you guys a little bit of cooling off though, the UCL is completely intact. They did imaging on it. There is not a fear in the world that there is a UCL problem. So he should be fine. It's a strain of the elbow. And it looks like he's only going to spend 10 days on the IL. And when he gets back, he's going to hit primarily when he gets back, but not for the rest of the season. It looks like for about 2 weeks, he's going to hit primarily, and then he'll enter the field back. So I do feel like this is the problem, though, with falling back in the standings, Stacey. If this team was dominating and playing great and had a 5-game lead in the division, they would just simply sit Judge for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, let him fully heal, and then bring him back. Now you're forced to bring him back and put strain on the elbow, because you have no option, because you need to win baseball games. But yeah, Saturday you lose 9-4. A lot of Harper home run, a lot of power out of the Phillies, and Marcus Stroman gave you his 3 2/3. That unfortunately is part of the reason why they're going out there to get a starter. And you hear it all in the news, because you can't afford to have that. That can't afford to sit in your rotation. And Ranger Suarez was Ranger Suarez. He was awesome. 8 strikeouts, 1 earned run over 6 innings. He was great. And then you get to Sunday, and Sunday was a victory that was exactly what this Yankee team needs to be, right? They scored 4 runs somehow, none of them on the home run ball, not a single bit of power used in this game. Manufactured them in every single way. I thought Carlos Rodon, and this is going to be a funny one too, because a lot of Yankee fans are going to sit here and tell you that they didn't think Rodon was good. I thought it was another gutty start for Rodon. And I think this, similar to the Blue Jays start, both are in Rodon's first 2 years, both reeked of things started to go south. He falls apart, and the Yankees lose 11-5, and he has 6 earned. These are both games, this and the Blue Jays game, where he got into trouble, worked his way out of it, kept his confidence. Stacey, I mean, I know the numbers aren't staggering. You're not going to look at Rodon's final tally and think, oh, he was amazing. Oh, my God. But I look at this game, and I think that's a gutty start for Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just, the home run thing just drives me crazy, because I get it. I get why they happen because of the way he throws the ball. But I was more impressed with the bullpen doing what they did, because of how they were abused this weekend by the Phillies, for them to come back in on Sunday and hold them down for those few innings where you kept thinking, oh, they're going to come back into this or something's going to happen. And it just didn't happen.
Completely dominant too. Loizaga 12 pitches, Weaver 13, Hill 12, and Williams 13. No one threw a lot of pitches. No one got into trouble. Rodon again, 5 1/3, 4 hits, 3 earned, 8 Ks, only 1 walk. That is the importance too, Stacey, of him keeping guys off the base paths, because those home runs come off elevated fastballs. And that's his strikeout pitch. The problem with throwing that hard and that up in the zone, Stacey, is when you make contact, you're going to hit it a long way. He's able to attack up in the zone like that when the guys aren't on base, because the threat of giving up a solo home run isn't as great as a 3-run home run.
Right.
That's where keeping guys off base, because he can attack like that more easier and use his whole arsenal. I just like that kind of start from him, because Stacey, that's the kind of start that you need from an ace-type pitcher in the postseason. You need him to keep the game in check like that. I mean, yeah, you'd like less than 3 runs, but you need him to keep the game in check and keep things under control and not let a team get out to that 4 or 5 run lead, which kind of takes you out of games. This is just, again, you're seeing an extreme amount of growth in mental maturity out of Carlos Rodon, I think, in the last season. He's just been a lot more sticks into games, even when he doesn't have his best stuff. He's not giving up the 7-8 run clunker like he was in the years past.
Yeah. He also had better defense playing behind him on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, and we'll get to that.
Yeah. I'm just glad they weren't swept. I'm happy about the game on Sunday, because if you looked at the pitching matchups, the Wheeler matchup was the one that you thought to yourself,
yikes.
And Wheeler didn't help himself, because there were some, the Yankees took advantage of Wheeler not having his best stuff, hitting people, doing things that he normally doesn't do. And it was good to see them do that, because that usually happens to them.
He hurt his Cy Young chances too, because Paul Skeens went 6 shutout innings on Sunday too. So Paul Skeens had a lot better of a start than Wheeler did in that game.
Yeah. So they lose 2 out of 3. They look terrible in the first 2 games. Well, for a game and a half of those 2 games. And
you have to take advantage of Tampa now. Tampa's playing horrible coming in. You have to take advantage of them here.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in segment 3. But coming up next, we're going to recap the trade with Ryan McMahon, because he had a couple of interesting moments in this series, actually. He contributed big time to the Yankees winning, especially on Sunday. All right, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in our description. You get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings, reactions to the games. I send you the lineups every day during the season, any roster moves that are made, and breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. All right, like I said, coming up, we're going to recap the trades that the Yankees have made so far. Next.
You ever wish managing money on your account felt easier? Well, with Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over all of your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending, all available in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Now, one thing that was surprising to me with Monarch is I can track all my accounts in one specific place. It makes things a lot easier. Subscriptions are all there, accounts, how I'm trying to save. Having financial goals is difficult as it is, but having it all set in one place makes it super, super easy and convenient to use. So take control of all your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
So every Friday we have Fan Mail Friday. And if you watch us on YouTube and you're not part of our Insiders Club, this is the way you leave us a question. You go to our channels page, you click on posts, and you will see where I say, leave your Fan Mail Friday question here. And you leave it underneath the post. It's easy peasy. Deadline, Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern.
So, Stacey, the storyline I mentioned at the start of the show, it felt like the storyline of the weekend wasn't even the Yankees-Phillies series, which I was really into as a baseball fan. But the storyline was the trades. I think overall, the Yankees have by far been the most aggressive team out of the start of the trade deadline. They're going after it, which we kind of pushed for a few weeks ago, hoping they'd be really aggressive, and they certainly have not disappointed so far. We hear about this On Friday, they trade Griffin Herring, who's their number 8 overall prospect in the Yankee system, and Josh Groves for the number 21 prospect in their system for Ryan McMahon. Now, some things on Ryan McMahon that people, if you're not aware of him, aggressive splits from cores to the road, which most guys in Colorado do have. He does not hit lefties very well. He also strikes out a lot. The positives on Ryan McMahon, he's a wizard at third base with the glove. And you kind of saw that if you watched the Yankees-Phillies series. He made multiple plays on Saturday and Sunday that were plays that and Peraza's a good fielder. Peraza doesn't have a prayer of making those plays. So you do get the great benefit there. And you kind of wonder going in, well, what are they going to do when they face lefties? Because he really struggles against them. And the thought that I had too is, do they really need another guy that's high on strikeouts? Because the Yankees certainly have a lot of that in their lineup. Well, then we find out, Stacey, on Saturday that they traded for Ahmed Rosario. You might remember him from his Mets days. He's been all over. He's been with the Dodgers. He's been with the Guardians, the Rays. They traded Clayton Beeter, who we've heard of, obviously, from the Yankees farm system. He was the number 20 overall prospect and an outfielder from the Dominican Summer League, whose name is Bram Martinez. That's what I'm going with. It's BRWM. So if the pronunciation's wrong, I'm sorry. But Rosario has really developed from his Mets days, Stacey, to become a real utility player. He plays third base, shortstop, second base. He plays some outfield. So he's all over the place. He also slaughters lefties this year. He's hitting .305 against lefties this year. McMahon's hitting .207. So it looks like when the Yankees play left-handers, they're going to have Rosario playing third base. And when they play righties, they'll have McMahon more of the time. Likely at the end of games, they'll probably sub out Rosario and put McMahon in at third base for defensive purposes, especially once the bullpens get involved. And they'll probably use Rosario to give Chisholm rest or to give Volpe rest. That's what they'll wind up doing there. I love both moves. I think they're protective moves. They protect themselves. Also, McMahon, by the way, signed through 2027. So you have him for 2. This is a very similar to the Jazz move, where you're making a trade to make yourself better this year, but also to protect yourselves in the future and give yourself contract, easier maneuverability. He doesn't make a lot of money over the next 2 years. I really came away from this weekend with a lot of positive feelings towards these both moves. I really did.
It's funny you said that, because there were a couple of insiders who were not happy with this, thought it was ridiculous that they're trading for Ryan McMahon because he's signed through 2027.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were worried about that money having to do with other stuff that the Yankees could get, which I thought, if the Yankees really want some of the guys who are going to be in free agency, they're going to go after them. Right?
Yeah, the money is not really relevant, especially when it comes to McMahon. He's not making a lot. He counts towards the luxury tax at $11 million per year over the next 2 seasons, and he's owed about $4 million left on his contract for this year. That's not a lot of money. The Yankee and if McMahon is terrible this year and the rest of this year and next year, they can easily cut that salary and eat it. They ate $17 million a year on Aaron Hicks, so they have no problem eating that money if they really have to. I don't have a problem with these, but you basically, if you follow the show, you've heard of Griffin Herring's name, of course. You've heard Josh Groves' name before, but overall, and when it comes to baseball lore, you got Ryan McMahon and Ahmed Rosario for 4 prospects that most people have not heard of. Clayton Beeter, most Yankee fans have heard of. Yeah. But overall, you got 2 of these guys who were established major leaguers at positions you were really struggling at for 4 minor leaguers most baseball fans have not heard of. This was not a Lombard Jr. or Spencer Jones, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, that's the thing that I was thinking of while these moves were being made, because some people were upset that they didn't go after Suarez. As we've said on the show, as you pointed out last week, Suarez would cost a lot more, and he's a rental, where you get McMahon, like, okay, so he doesn't hit that great, but I would much prefer to know that defensively, there's not going to be any issues with him playing third base. He's like a vacuum out there. And
also, their problem this year is not their offense. That they're going to score runs. In years past, it's been different, but this year they're scoring their runs. The problem with the infield has specifically been the left side of the infield has been terrible this year. This also helps out double fold too. Not that it makes Anthony Volpe better at throwing the ball. It cuts off the range that he needs, though, going to his right. He doesn't have to worry about going to his right as much. He can focus a lot more on going to his left. That provides getting to balls quicker going to his left. He can cheat a little more to his left, knowing that the third base side is covered. It gives him a lot more range and a lot more ability to get to balls quicker, where he has more time to make throws and he's not rushing as much. And that does help me out because Anthony Volpe, he is a Gold Glover. He was a finalist for a Gold Glove in his second year. We know the fielding is there, but maybe because the fielding has struggled at third base this year, he's been overcompensating to that side, and it makes him, a half a second later towards the middle, which can contribute to worse throws and stuff. I think these two moves, these aren't world beaters. This is not Suarez who's going to come in here and hit and give you a crazy power bat and everything, but I can't hate on these two moves when they're very productive players. And, these are guys that you kind of need in the middle of your lineup to provide, this is the kind of players that playoff teams have on them. Guys, they're not the flashy names. They're not going to hit a ton of home runs, but they're just going to make every ball that's hit to them. They're going to make every play, and they're going to hit solidly. Plus, if you're a nerd baseball analytics guy, Ryan McMahon, who hits left-handed, has some of the highest exit velo in the league when it comes to hitting left-handed. Why is that important? The short porch Yankee Stadium. They feel like he's going to be able to poke a few balls over the short porch if he gets into a couple this year. So they do think there's a potential power element that could be added to his game too. I think he has 16 home runs this year in Coors Field. Plus, if you want to more check on his fielding, in the last 2 years, his fielding percentage is like 97% in Colorado. It's the best in all of baseball. Plus, Stacey, you haven't heard a peep out of anyone related to Colorado when it comes to Ryan McMahon's fielding. They love McMahon's fielding. And you know why that's important? The guy who he replaced at third base was Nolan Arenado, who's one of the greatest fielding third basemen in the history of baseball. So if they're not complaining about McMahon's fielding and they're complimenting that, I think the Yankees are in a pretty good place when it comes to the glove of McMahon.
Yeah, no, I like these two moves. They didn't give up a lot. It's kind of funny. I got the email from the Hudson Valley Renegades because Herring and Groves were on the Renegades when they got traded, and it just said, roster move deleted. And I was like, oh yeah, there you go. Have fun with Colorado.
I don't know if that top tier pitcher is available. I don't think it is. They're apparently in the market for a reliever and a closer, a reliever and a starter. I don't know if that top tier pitcher is available. I don't think it is. But if it is, they now have their top prospects to be able to move and get those pieces. So if somehow, some way, the Pirates are interested in trading Paul Skeens, I don't think they are. And I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But you don't know what team has what player available right now for what price. Sometimes these trades come out of left field and you're like, where did that come from? So you don't know who's available and what's available. So you kind of got to wait. What if the Rangers are willing to trade? What if they think they're out of it and they're willing to move DeGrom, or they're willing to move, you don't know, but you don't know. You don't hear about a lot of this stuff until afterwards. So what if Evaldi's available? What if Evaldi's available?
They're starting to play better. They're like, oh, I was seeing some people talking about the Rangers being like, oh, it feels like 2023 again because they're starting to win again. I heard that Skeens is definitely not being moved at all. It might be like a surprising move, but not from either one of those.
There's players around the league that are on teams that again, what if these teams decide to, what if the Braves think they're out of it and want to move Chris Sale? And the Yankees could get him, you know what I mean? Like there's players that you could get that you don't hear about a lot. And when the Yankees had the power they have with their top tier prospects, what if they try to take advantage of Jones playing well at this point? There's moves to be made.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I like that it didn't take much to get these guys. They can platoon with each other and they complement each other very well. And I think that they're smart moves. And like you said, they're not flashy, but not every move has to be flashy. They should be smart.
Smart, and I love the aggressiveness again. I love that as soon as the market starts getting going, the Yankees did not react to baseball making moves and teams making moves. The Yankees went right ahead and said, no, we're going to start this market. and it did work because there's been a lot of trades in the last couple of days now.
Yeah. All right, well, coming up, we're going to preview the Yankees against the Rays and talk about the importance of that series, just because we know they don't do well against the AL East. So this is kind of a big series coming up. So we're going to discuss it all next.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gameday Hue, and so is this hat that I'm wearing. For the Locked On Yankees fans like me, this one always hits the mark. Now, Gameday Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your colors speak for you. There's no giant logos, just smart, versatile styles that work on game day, on the course, or wherever you want to in between. Plus, I got this really cool golf glove that I can wear on the course too in my team's colors. That's what's best, right? It gives you, it's stylish gear, but there's no obnoxious symbols all over it. It's just clean and simple. I wear mine at tailgates, tee times, running errands, all over the place. I get a lot of compliments on it. It looks so good. And again, not just the hats, split shade gloves made for the golf course. It's the perfect gift for any fan who already has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GamedayHue.com. That's GamedayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals, so now it's time to load up. Let your colors talk because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHue.com, code MLB15. And guys, not only do we cover your team every day, but now we're giving you instant episodes after every single game. Check out the Locked On Yankees postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed, as well as streaming on our YouTube channel. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees postcast. So, Stacey, I don't think it can be understated here how big this Yankees-Rays series is, especially with the fact that the Rays come into this series absolutely reeling. They're playing terrible as of late. They've likely played their way into becoming sellers at this point, just because I don't think they're going to make a playoff push. I think they're aware of that too. They're not too far back in the wild card race, but not a lot of teams are. So you have to establish yourselves as what you are, and the Rays are a kind of team that kind of is very good at signaling where they are and knowing where they are in the standings and knowing what their team is. This is an unbelievably important series for them. Yeah.
The Yankees are not great against the AL East. What's the tally now? 11-18 against their AL East rivals. The Rays are the only team that they have a positive record against. They're 4-3 against them so far. And yeah, this is a big series for the Yankees. They need to basically come out, play like they can play without Aaron Judge in the lineup. And I mean, honestly, they were playing without him in the lineup for a couple of games before he even was out because he wasn't quite himself, and you could tell he wasn't quite himself. But you have new life with the new guys coming in. We mentioned it in segment 1. Ryan McMahon had he had a few defensive moments, but he also had some offensive moments. For a guy who strikes out a lot, he did strike out a few times, but he had a couple of big hits the big hit on Sunday that tied the game. And every time I looked, it was like, oh, he's on base again. Cool. Whether he walked or got a hit. So, sometimes trades like this will breathe life into a player who isn't doing well with another team. He played for the Rockies. There wasn't much to play for with the Rockies this season. So this might be one of those situations where this kind of wakes him up and he thinks to himself, man, I'm playing for the Yankees. I'm actually playing for something here. This is really cool. I mean, yes, he's going to strike out. Everyone does. But I like this. I like this little bit of an injection of something even with him.
I love people saying that his RBI numbers are down this year. When is he ever up with guys on base?
Right.
It's kind of hard to have good RBI numbers when you're playing with a T-ball team. So, the Rockies they got their 27th win of the season this weekend. They're going to hit 80 wins, 80 losses before August.
The way they started, if you said the Rockies were going to have that many wins on July 28th, I wouldn't have believed you because they were so bad to start the season. It looked like 40 was or even 35 was an impossibility.
They're still on pace for the worst to beat the White Sox record last year, though. So they're still on pace to have the worst record ever. Now, the Rays have been playing terrible really since the All-Star break came back. They struggled against the Orioles in their series back. They got a 4-3 win in the second game of that series, 5-3 in the second and third game they lost. So they took 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, but they struggled in that series. Then they come home to Tampa, Stacey, and they lose 2 out of 3 to the White Sox, including giving up 8 to them and 11 to them. Then they played the Reds this weekend in Cincinnati and got swept. So they are not playing well. They're reeling right now. Again, it looks like they're going to become sellers at the deadline. This is a team that comes in not playing with a lot of confidence, probably knowing their season is likely over. You have to take advantage of them and take 3 out of 4 here. And just one last thing that I wanted to get into before we get out of here. The the Hall of Fame speeches happened. I think CeCe is still sweating probably after his speech. If you watch the speech, CeCe was leaking throughout the entire thing, but
Oof.
he had a very, very great speech, CeCe. I loved what he stood up there and basically said. And someone who deserves a lot of compliments for just who she is as a person is Amber Sabathia, his wife, who stuck by him through thick and thin. They've been together, I think, since high school.
Yeah, junior year of high school, he said in the speech they met.
And they went through everything together. His obvious, documented alcohol problem when he went through rehab, and then making the decision to go to the Yankees. I also love how in his speech he complimented everything was we made the decision to go here. We made the decision to do that. So many times in professional sports, the wives who are, for lack of a better word, stay-at-home moms or single moms in a sense, like just at home all the time, taking care of kids. That's their full-time job. Those wives get forgotten about when their husbands aren't in the picture at all because they're playing baseball 24/7. So she's done a lot, and you've heard about Amber Sabathia for years, especially like her charitable work and everything. But I love the fact that he stood up there and made sure that this is basically her Hall of Fame induction as much as it is his. That was really cool to see.
Well, the majority of his speech was about his family. It wasn't even about him. He brought up like a couple of baseball things, but he didn't even bring up any real personal accolades and any stats or anything. It was all about especially the women in his family who made it possible. And, Amber Sabathia is now an agent, and he was talking about the importance of he doesn't want to be the last black pitcher to be in the Hall of Fame.
I love that he says that. I really do. He's one of the best lefties of all time, one of the best black pitchers of all time. He's put up great, unbelievable numbers, especially in big spots too. I don't know how you can't love everything about CeCe Sabathia as a player.
So my favorite thing about CeCe, I have two favorite things, but this is my most favorite. That game against the Rays, there was chippiness between the two teams. Austin Romine gets hit by a pitch, and then CeCe comes right back in and hits, I can't remember who it is, on the Rays, and he gets thrown out immediately. And this is the very end of the season. He needs to hit an innings limit to trigger a bonus, and he misses it because he gets thrown out of the game. And he didn't care, because they even asked him after the game, and he said, I don't care about that. Because and
it was $500,000.
Like, it wasn't like, it wasn't. That's life-changing money for most of us. And CeCe was always the first dude out of the dugout if something happened. The night that A-Rod returned to Fenway in 2013 after his hip surgery and everything, and Ryan Dempster was throwing at him, and it was clear that he was throwing at him because he tried to throw at him 4 times, and finally, CeCe was the first one out of the dugout. Like, he always wanted to stick up for his teammates, and I loved that about him. I mean, besides watching him pitch and how awesome he was just like the number one teammate and would have anyone's back.
They refused to name a captain after Jeter until Judge, obviously, but CeCe really was the de facto captain of that team throughout all those years. Really, I mean, Jeter was still the captain in 2009, but CeCe was a captain-like figure, came right into the clubhouse, commanded the kind of respect, but also showed what it was like to be a professional, be a major leaguer. There's a ton of stories of guys getting called up and CeCe immediately basically giving them the reins and showing them how it works and stuff like that. He also, if you guys aren't aware, it was one of the main guys that organized team dinners on the road.
I was going to say, he changed the clubhouse a bit when he came too. Like, they had more 100%. Fun when he came over. Thank goodness, because that kind of led us into what's happening now. They're not as uptight as they were. Yeah. He had a big part of that, and I just
unbelievably deserving Hall of Famer. Unbelievably,
I adore CeCe Sabathia. Quickly, the pitching matchups: Monday, Schlittler against Rasmussen; Tuesday, Fried against Boyle; Wednesday, Warren against Littell; and Thursday, which is a getaway day, 1:05 p.m., Stroman against Pepio.
Yeah, it's gonna be. You have to take advantage. You're getting Fried in this game, in this Tuesday's game. You're getting Schlittler too. Got to get big starts out of them. You have to. You can't even split this, Stacey. You have to take 3 out of 4. Also, the Blue Jays don't lose.
Yeah, they happened to lose on Sunday, but only because the Tigers went up by so much, and the Blue Jays only started scoring in the last inning. Because if they had a few more innings to go, they would have tied that game with the way they started.
5.5 as it stands right now. You're 5.5 out, but the Blue Jays get the Orioles for 4 games, so it's not like their schedule gets any harder.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this episode of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.